If you happen to think that the amount of tea-ware used in tea brewing is overabundant, remind yourself that in the time of the Tang dynasty, as the classic of tea narrates, the number of must-have articles required for tea preparation amounted to 24. To brew tea the traditional Chinese way, by steepings, you will only need a Gaiwan or a teapot, a Chahai, and teacups. For brewing convenience, I recommend adding another 3 articles, a Chaban or a tea pool, Chahai, and a tea towel. The principal choice you have to make prior to buying tea-ware is whether you prefer brewing tea in a teapot or in a Gaiwan. Our choice begins from these 2 particular articles, as they are the main characters in the play attracting special attention, and all other elements should be in tune with them. Their style, material, pattern, and color affect the composition of the whole set. European mentality aims at already made tea-ware ensembles to buy Gaiwan, Chahai, and cups of the same style. However, this is but a treacherous path. Chinese tea aesthetics assumes step-by-step selection of individual articles. As a result, your tea set should be concordant, well-balanced, and attractive, but in no way unsavory. After buying a set of tea-ware in the uniform style, one will need to blend them with additions, to tinge, and to finish. Gaiwan, or Gaiwan, is an absolutely unique piece of tea-ware. Originating from China, its authentic design appeared in the 17th century during the Manchu Qing dynasty. The Manchus, who conquered China, fell in love with its advanced, refined, and highly spiritual culture, which assimilated them entirely. Many emperors of the Qing dynasty became adepts of tea. During this period, the tea business rapidly developed, with a variety of tea houses opening around the country and a major part of its inhabitants drinking tea. The name Gaiwan itself translates to a cup with a lid. Initially, the Gaiwan was used for individual tea drinking. Eventually, it started to be used for steeping tea and pouring it into cups. Porcelain Gaiwan is universally applicable for brewing any tea, whether it's green tea or pure. Therefore, in my opinion, it fits the best for an introduction to Chinese tea culture. The teapot, or chahu, is also deemed to be invented by the Chinese. It appeared around the 14th century with the arising necessity to brew tea in a vessel instead of boiling it in a cauldron. The teapot became a successor of already existing jars and step by step through the centuries, acquired its current form. Most well known in Chinese culture are Yixing teapots. They are produced of the special clay quarried around the city of Yixing. Its unusual mineral composition delivers the unique, almost magical qualities. And naturally, each fan of Chinese tea sooner or later wishes to get at least one such teapot in their possession. The only disadvantage of Yixing clay is its highly porous structure, which actively absorbs flavors, therefore is suitable for brewing of one tea type. The purchase of such an item is rational only in case of irresistible necessity. Porcelain or enamel-covered clay teapots will better serve as first brewing tea-ware. They enable you to brew all types of tea in a single vessel. Teacup bowl, chabe, an item quite ordinary for us except for the unusual size of Chinese teacups. While your office cup capacity is 200 to 350 milliliters, the Chinese teacup for traditional tea drinking contains from 20 to 50 milliliters. Naturally, a beginner wants a bigger cup. Only very soon after several tea sessions, owners of large cups notice that it becomes difficult for them to drink all the brewed tea, as traditionally it undergoes around 10 consecutive steepings. When your teacup is at least 50 milliliters, you have to outdrink up to half a liter of tea, which may be quite a surfeit. When using minor cups in the tea session, together with drinking your fill, you relish the flavor of each steeping without repletion to the sense of discomfort. The material the teacup is produced of makes no difference, so to say. However, there are certain aspects to be observed. Some thin-walled or glass teacups may be hard to hold for people with hypersensitive skin. Yixing clay and Tenmoku ceramic contain much iron and soften the water, and many Chinese consider tea from such cups to be tastier. However, it does not functionally affect the tea brewing itself. Teacups are selected by the call of one's heart and to one's own cheek. If one styled teaware on the table strikes a chord in your soul, buy a tea set. If you want to express your personality, then buy something unconventional. Traditional, bright Chinese teacup on the shelf will capture the attention of your friends. Teacups with white glazing inside or made of glass allow the infusion to be clearly visible. Whether you attempt to get softer flavor, buy a cup of Yixing clay. This is all up to you. In the choice of the cup, there cannot be a correct or incorrect decision. The only thing to be kept in mind is the capacity of cups to be adequate with the amount of tea brewed so it suffices everybody, but this is but pure mathematics. Chahai, which translates to Sea of Tea, or the Cup of Fairness, is an optional article not directly involved in tea brewing. However, the lack of it can incur some inconveniences. After steeping the tea leaves in a Gaiwan or a teapot, the infusion is poured into the Cup of Fairness. The main function of this vessel becomes clear from its name. If the tea is poured directly from the teapot into guests' cups, the infusion in the first cup will be too weak, and the most rich will it be in the last one. This is not fair. However, if the infusion is poured into the Chahai and then distributed between teacups, the tea in each of them will be alike. Besides, the Chahai performs a number of other functions. It separates the infusion from the tea leaves, and therefore ceases the brewing process. The brew in the teapot awaits the next steeping, and the tea can be poured into teacups without haste. When the Chahai is empty, one may enjoy the aroma still resting inside, where it manifests itself in its full splendor. If the Chahai is made of glass, one may enjoy the color of the infusion in it. Chaban, or Chapan, is a special board for tea sessions where the excess water drains. When preparing tea, you rinse the tea-ware, pour off the remaining tea, or may accidentally spill the water. Chaban is used to keep the tea drinking place tidy. It has a built-in tray for water to be dumped upon conclusion of the tea drinking. Some boards are equipped with a hose instead of a tray. Such models are most popular in China. Tea boards are known from ancient times, however. The up-to-date model with the water drain has been invented just a couple of decades ago. Tea pool, or chachi, is an analog of chapan. If you discard chapan, you may use a tea pool to pour off all the excessive water during the tea session. In recent decades, China has returned to old tea drinking traditions. Cast iron kettles for water boiling have become increasingly popular, and modern tea sets more clearly feature ancient forms. Textile and woven mats have grown larger, more elegant, and exquisite. Therewith, brewing tea with a tea pool is also gaining popularity. Such tea sessions presumably will appear more exalted compared to brewing on chapan. You do not necessarily need to use a Chinese tea pool with the suffice of porcelain plates available. They will perfectly look on your table, replacing the authentic tea-ware. Chahe translates as tea lotus, a plate used for acquaintance with the appearance of a leaf and its aroma. Prior to the tea session, a distinct amount of tea is filled into the chahi, which is afterwards shifted to the Gaiwan. The main convenience of using the chahi is the ability to measure the required amount of tea in advance. The tea towel, or shajin, is another optional but useful element of the tea session. Chinese towel may be replaced by local cloth. What is most important is that it does not scratch the surface of chapan. Tea towel is often used for wiping tea spilled on chapan. Hot tea-ware pieces are also placed upon it when passing around to guests. Teapot for acquaintance with the aroma of steeped tea leaf. Chahai to inhale the scent of the infusion. The napkin wipes the bottom of the teacup before passing it to the guest. This simple act, helps to keep the tea experience clean and elegant. Gap 3S. The tea scoop, or chashao, is a small but significant tool in the traditional Chinese tea ceremony. Used to transfer tea leaves from their storage container to the brewing vessel, the tea scoop ensures that the leaves remain intact and free from contamination. Often made from bamboo, wood, or porcelain, the tea scoop adds a touch of elegance and precision to the tea preparation process. This simple tool not only aids in measuring the perfect amount of tea, but also embodies the mindfulness and respect inherent in the tea tradition. By using a tea scoop, you enhance the overall tea experience, making it more ritualistic and refined. Altogether, this is another article worth buying to keep your tea session tidy. As you may see, the completion of your first tea set is not such a complicated task as some articles may already be in your household. Naturally, each person practicing Chinese tea brewing on a regular basis in time becomes overgrown with the number of tea articles of various utility. Except for purely functional, there will inevitably appear some magic and atmospheric ones. Tea deities for Chaban, a brush for a teapot, incenses, vases, etc.